Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the 11th episode of my backyard plant propagation series. In this episode, I'm going to show you gardenias, lots of different varieties of gardenias. They're very easy. These are actually just barely ready to take. Normally they would have been hardened off a little more than this, but gardenias are so easy, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take a slightly softer wood cutting than I normally would. I've got some Swift Creek Privet, and Privet of any kind are very easy to root. And I've got some Goldmound Spiraea. Goldmound Spiraea would represent pretty much any Spirea. Spireas are all very, very easy to root. For some reason, the leaves actually stay wet in between the mist, just kind of automatically on Spirea. There's something about the leaf surface or the texture of the leaf that actually holds water on it. And so rarely do I ever have an issue, even if I have irrigation problems, rooting Spirea. So they're easy. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do this one tray with these three items, and then we're also going to work on one of the alternative methods that we had built in one of the earlier episodes. As in the other episodes, I got the 50 cell tray, I got the peat and perlite mix. We're using the dip and grow at 10 parts water and 1 part dip and grow. This is how I took these gardenia cuttings in the field. I'm just going to cut it right off the centerpiece where the wood has turned this brown color. It will root, like I say, all parts of a gardenia will root easily. This will root slower, and so I don't want to blend it in with these softer wood cuttings, or my flat will root at a different rate, and I'll end up drowning one or underwatering one to try to get them all to root, so it's just easier to have similar types of cuttings. This part up at the top is, again, it's just not mature enough, really. It will root, and you could do a flat just mixed with that material right there. I'm going to just take that off, leave these two top leaves, pull off these bottom leaves. I'm not going to worry about putting any kind of extra cut or anything on these gardenias. They are super, super easy to root. I'm putting it in there halfway down and pinching it in like we've talked about. That's the piece we were disposing of. I'm not going to get as many cuttings off of this as I normally do, because I'm starting really too early on these. They're just not quite ready. I would normally get this second piece up here, would have been ready as well, but it's just not. That's a perfect cutting. It's rigid enough. Hasn't hardened off too much where it's going to root too slowly. Sticking it in there, putting it about halfway down. I'm going to do 2, maybe 3 rows of these gardenias. Okay, the next thing is the privet, and I just took long pieces of this as well. I'm just going to get rid of this center part. Anything on this will root, same as the other stuff I've been showing you. I'm going to get rid of this most tender growth at the top, and I'm going to get 2 cuttings out of this. I can take this about the middle, strip off the bottom leaves off of it, stick it in the dip and grow, put it about halfway down, pinch it in. Privet's really, really going to be super easy. We shouldn't have any problem getting these rooted. And normally, more of this would have hardened off, and I could have probably taken pretty much almost this entire stem. I probably could have gotten 4, maybe 5 pieces out of this. As it is right now, I'm going to get 3 out of each of these, but I'm going to do 3 rows of these privet. I ended up doing 2 different varieties of gardenias. The larger leaf one is the August Beauty gardenia, which is an old-fashioned one, has much larger foliage on it. And then I did a few frost-proof gardenias in here. Everything I'm putting in this flat today is going to be super easy to root things that root very quickly in the type of mist house that we're using. Okay, so here's the Goldmound Spiraea. I talked about not letting the wood turn brown on a lot of these things, but that's really the only part that you can root on these Goldmound Spiraea. This stuff, where it's green and it's hardened off a little, roots great, roots very fast, but you end up damaging it trying to stick it down into the cells. I can punch a little hole in each of them and do it that way, but it's just easier to take where it transitions from that green to that brown color. And you can just get tons of cuttings off of every one of these. Again, it's green here, it's brown there. I'll take about 3 leaves below that transition spot, take the leaves off that are on the brown part, take off the newest growth right there, dip it, stick it in there halfway down. Really, really super simple. I'm going to finish out this flat with these Goldmound Spiraea. So here's our finished flat. I've got the August Beauty gardenias here, 1 row of frost-proof gardenias, our Swift Creek Privet, and our Goldmound Spiraea. We'll go ahead and slide that into the house. And I took some additional cuttings of each of these, and we're going to work on our other technique as well. Okay, so there's the irrigation running. Here's our flat on the front left that we did today. The gardenias and the privet and the Goldmound Spiraea. Everything in the other two flats is looking perfect. That flat on the back right's been in here 2 weeks now. Got pretty much all of the lantana rooted in. The crepe myrtles haven't started rooting yet, but they're very, very close. The Japanese beautyberries from last week have started to root a little bit. This is a blueberry flat that I did for the blueberry propagation series right here. So now we're up here to 4 flats, and I'm going to show you we're going to start working on our alternative methods now. Okay, here's that wooden box we had built in a previous episode. I've gone ahead and put the blueberries in here from the blueberry propagation video. Remember, it has this liner put in here. It's just a weed control fabric to allow some water to drip out of it. And then I just filled it with our perlite and peat moss combination, and I've wetted it thoroughly. So I've already prepped these August Beauty gardenias. I'm going to put it in there just like on the flats. I'm only going down maybe an inch, a little more, pinching it in. Definitely not going all the way to the bottom of this frame. It's definitely going to be too wet down there over time. And I'm putting these far enough away from the edge that the corner of our cover can go down on it without pinching them. So there's our August Beauty gardenias. I do want to pinch those in pretty well. I've got some Goldmound Spiraea that I did. I can put those probably pretty close together and not have any problems with those. Okay, and then I have our privet, which I can put very, very close together, really. They're so vertical, won't be a problem to do that at all. So this is actually pretty fast once they're prepped, and I don't need this many Goldmound Spiraea in here, so I'm just going to get rid of these 4. So I have 2 rows of blueberries, a row of August Beauty gardenias, a row of Goldmound Spiraea, and a row of privet. I'm going to put this cover onto the top of it without pinching anything and stick it back under my deck in the shade. About once every week, I'm just going to raise it up, spray a little water in here, and then seal it back down. And that should be perfectly adequate. I think we'll get roots on this stuff in 4 to 6 weeks. I'll have an additional episode next Thursday as we continue to fill out our propagation house. Thanks for watching.